And welcome to all the viewers. My name is Kezang Tobgay. I'm taking this unit, attracting and retaining people as an off-campus unit. Um, the topic of my presentation is about employer branding. So, with that, as I begin my presentation, let's look at one of the slides. This slide talks about talent, culture, retention, recruitment, job security, employer reputation. These are all factors that contribute towards employer branding, are famously known by a tagline, employer of choice. With that, just let's give a random thought about why do we why employer branding? What is the use? Why employer branding is important? Namely, it is because it can achieve sustained competitive advantage. Um, the ability to attract and retain talented employee will increase as a result of becoming employer of choice or employer branding, and it can be used as a point of differentiation. One organization can be differentiated from another organization by becoming employer of choice. Now let's look at what is the definition of employer of choice or employer branding. Simply tells us that it is a process to communicate as an employer of choice to the market, and also like it tells us that it is a tool or technique which keeps employees motivated and engaged in their workplace. And with that, we look at the role of employer branding in recruitment, selection, and retention. In case of recruitment, it is believed that employer branding plays a major role. It plays a positive role. It positively impacts the recruitment of the organization. Therefore, it is important for any organization in order to attract talented and skilled employees. An organization should should try to achieve employer of choice. So who don't want to work in an organization who looks after the welfare of employees? Therefore, the ability to attract or recruitment of talented and skilled employees will be much higher in case of organization with employer of choice. Therefore, some of the tips for recruitment: defining company's culture and values, are giving the best candidates experience. It doesn't mean that simply having an experience of 30 years is not good enough. That means even um, it talks about the rest of the candidates, how you handle them while undergoing recruitment process, your gestures, and all kind of hospitalities, and using social medias, video advertisings, blogs. These are all like certain strategies in which you can talk about your organization to the outside world so that they know about how organization is, and that can help to drive them for job consideration or apply for the job. So in that way it enhances the recruitment process for the organization. So let's look at some of the facts. Is employer branding really important? Well, yes. Recruiter is a talent acquisition blog, and it tells us that 72% of world's recruiting leaders they believe that employer branding has a positive impact on business. Meanwhile, a survey conducted by LinkedIn tells us that companies' employer brand is twice as likely to drive job consideration. And in another study, it concludes that 62% of candidates they look at research study about organization before hiring. With that, now we look at selection and retention. Once recruited, how can we keep employees satisfied, motivated, and engaged? Well, one of out of many, it tells us that While hiring, in case of recruitment, advertisements related to hiring of potentials that a potential talent must be clearly specified and explained. An organization must ensure that employees are engaged and um, motivated throughout. And feedback is crucial, therefore, it must be taken into account. And also, finally, like if in any case, if an organization has to send off any employee, that must be done with some kind of dignity, with respect and affection, so that the reputation can be maintained in the public. We look at one of the conceptual theoretical concepts. So that is by Goodred 2014. It tells us that dimensions such as culture, purpose, and employment are important in order to become employer of choice. So in short, it tells us that a positive organizational culture, well-defined organizational purpose, and being able to engage and motivate employees in the organization is key to achieve employer of choice or employer branding. Let's look at some of the examples of employer of choice. Apart from Google, Apple, now we will just try to focus um, with Australian organizations. Aldi, Bank Australia, DHL, uh, they were awarded as Employer of Choice in the year 2018. Most recently, Coles Supermarket was awarded as Employer of Choice for providing equal opportunities in the yep. And for the interest of time, I have like few other companies. So in the interest of time, we'll skip this one for now. Let's look at some of the implications. So how can one, like organization, actual practitioners, managers and leaders, that how can we try to create employer of choice? One is fostering trust and commitment, building a positive organization culture, use of social media and other relevant platforms, effective communication, maintaining employer reputation, and increasing engagement of the organization with the external stakeholders. And most importantly, identify employee value proposition such as um, salary, career growth, flexibility, empowerment, equal opportunity, and other benefits. Given all these benefits, it is believed that employees will try to continue with the organization, thus reducing turnover, reducing recruitment cost, and in a way it will lead to achieving sustained competitive advantage. So to conclude, employer branding is not about just attracting and retaining employees. It is also about motivating and keeping them engaged to achieve organizational success through employer branding or employer of choice. Thus, we need to understand that employer branding is a valuable asset in the organization. So, this is the end of my presentation. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening.